Right, the session will be moderated by Philip Pandey, the Executive Director of CCA. Karibu.
The Cabinet Secretary, the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts, Honorable Ababu Namwamba, the Deputy Governor, Kajiado County, His Excellency Martin Mushisho, the Vice Chancellor, the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, Professor Stephen Gary, delegates, distinguished guests, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I know it's been a long while. We should have gone for tea break. But as they say, you save the best for last. Waziri, we have been looking forward to this moment, to have you, and indeed to have all the guests seated here today. For a reminder, my name is Philip Pandey, the Executive Director of the Corporate Career Academy. Our role and purpose is to deepen transition from training to learning, from learning to earning, whether in school or out of school. So you are Waziri, you're exactly where you should be. In our midst are students from universities, like it has been highlighted, from TVETs, and from out-of-school initiatives. Why we are doing this is to respond to a crisis that Africa, East Africa, Kenya, and the rest of the world is alive to, the employability skills gap. So Waziri, in this session, we are adding our voices to the conversations that we began 8 years ago as the Corporate Career Academy with my colleague Livingstone and other dream chasers. Together with our good audience, our contributors, partners who were here yesterday and have been here since morning. And the goal is one, that every young person born on the continent of Africa and in Kenya and East Africa must have their place, whether they go to school or not. And so in this session, Waziri, we want to have an interactive session with the audience, but again, simply to tell us a few other things that the ministry, the rest of the stakeholders, and yourself and the government of Kenya, particularly with the mean of going from the bottom to the top for everyone, is working towards, especially in inclusive opportunities for young people. And so diving deep into the conversation, I would like to begin by having our guests introduce themselves and the institutions that they represent, and then we'll have the first set of questions, and the second set of questions will definitely come from the audience and the students. Then we'll have a brief remark by His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kajiado. Then Waziri will talk to us and officially address us in his capacity as the chief guest of the day. So, a lady and the three gentlemen, I begin from my farthest left. Thank you very much. Karibu.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The moderator, the Cabinet Secretary of the House, you're welcome. The Deputy Governor, Your Excellency, you're welcome, and my colleague. My name is Dr. Peter Koros. Basically, as we sit here, I'm the host because I come from this institution. I'm the Dean Faculty of Education. where we offer programs, and currently we are on a transition in the Faculty of Education and the entire university in the process of aligning our programs to the market needs that are already identified. And so the coming of this particular conference is quite handy and timely, that we not only train for the sake of training, just because an opportunity shows up and one has to be trained. Our focus now, especially as we transition from the current system of education to the curriculum, competency-based curriculum, and also curriculum competency-based education, the focus is acquisition of skills, so that going forward, our students will not go out there and expect to be employed. Rather, they will also be part of the agents of employment. And so we are transitioning from simply knowledge-based curriculum to competency-based curriculum, where the focus is acquisition of skills that will allow our graduates now to move on into the job market with skills already acquired. Secondly, that will also ensure that when our graduates move into the job market, they are not required to undergo another program of internship, because that internship is an indication that there is a serious disconnect between the training and the skills that are required in the market. So that after one has graduated, you are still supposed to be further trained. Our focus now as a university, and I think it's the focus of other universities, is to ensure that once our graduates exit from the university, they are able to be positioned into the job market without requiring further training. And then while they are in the job market, they will still be exposed to in-service training and training on job. That is the focus. And for me, as academia, one of the people in academia, I really value such a coming together so that we chart the way forward. And Waziri, our youth are actually there, and once they have been trained, it looks like they need another training now to fit in the job market. And so we are moving away from that and ensuring that once they come to your corporations, to your industries, they are well prepared for the job market. That's what I would say.
Thank you, Dean. Hold on that thought. I'll come to Lillian. And Lillian, as you make your introduction, the most significant space for any other young person seated this other side is to get to the corporate space. As an HR practitioner and somebody that is seasoned in the space as a director, what would be your first word in migrating this space to this other side of the divide?
Thank you very much, Bwana Idi. Good morning, everyone. It's quite an honor and a privilege to be here, just to be part of this conversation, whereby we are looking at how to increase our employability rates. And if you look at the question that have just been posed to me in terms of what do we look at as HR directors, as employers, as what is the main challenge, or what is the main attractive point of view, I'll talk of your ability to interact with others. I'll talk about soft skills. Most of the time you find that we are very quick to nurture, we are very quick to hone our skills when it comes to the technical or our abilities. But when it comes to our interactions, when it comes to the soft skills, that is the pain that we do, that we are not able to connect with. So I think I'm here today just to encourage you, to challenge you, to take advantage of those positions. Like if I talk about my employer, the Diamond Trust Bank, what we do is we have 2 intakes in a year. The 2 intakes, we have an intake in January, we have a second intake in July. What we do is we have a program known as job shadowing, We have another program known as internship, and the third one is GMT. The job shadowing program gives you an opportunity to come to our workplace. And when you join us there, we give you an overview of how the world of work looks like. Because most of the time you find that you have the classroom experience, but when it comes to the job market, you are not ready for the job market. So as Diamond Trust Bank, we kind of pair you up with, we bridge the gap between the classroom and the world of work. So take advantage, be somebody who is very inquisitive, be somebody who is very creative and very eager to learn, so that you are able to, you are ready to take up any job. You have that first instinct of how the world of work looks like. Take advantage when you have such positions in the market. I'll repeat again, we have an intake in January and another intake in July. Take advantage, we take 100 students from the universities across Kenya. So 100 and another 100 in July. Those are 200 students every year. So when you come for job shadowing, you get a feel of what operations, what we do in the finance department, what we do in HR department, what marketing does. All that gives you that employability, and it markets you at the same time, because you are able to brand yourself. And besides just branding yourself, you are able to at least make up. You are job ready. So over to you, Bwana Idi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lillian. It's always refreshing hearing from you, and I'm sure that motivates somebody on the other side. Your Excellency, the DG, I will come to you before I go to Waziri. And the subnational governments, county governments in particular, and you are leader of one, are working towards providing opportunities, providing affirmative action funds at the subnational level, but also defining policy trajectory for the employment and training of young people. What's the situation like in Kajiado? And I know you can speak on behalf of the other DGs and counties as the chair of that forum. What's the situation like in training, in policy, and in affirmative action funds?
Thank you very much, Cabinet Secretary, members present. My name is Martin Moshisho, Deputy Governor Kajiado, and also the chair of Deputy Governors Forum, and I'm delighted to be here. Just before I go to the situation in the counties in regard to this topic, I want to really thank all of you because we are in institutions of higher learning, and what is happening is that you are being prepared for the job market. You're being molded, you're being prepared to participate in the building of our nation in various positions. But what does it call for one to have that employability? Right now, young people in higher learning institutions are just studying to pass exams. But trust me, when you sit in that interview panel, you will not only be asked of your grade. Yes, they will look at what score you got, but that is not what will guarantee you a job. There are a lot of other things that they will look at for you to qualify for a job. And therefore, our institutions of higher learning should help us and should model and mold and nurture students who are wholesome, who are fully baked. You need to think about your communication skills. You need to think about your creativity. You need to think about your ability to solve problems. And you need to look into your leadership. So all those areas will prepare you and make you one who fits any job in our republic and beyond. But in the context of the county governments, the functions devolve in terms of education to the county government. ECD is one function that is fully devolved to the county government. Another area that is devolved to the county government is the technical aspect. And I want to inform you that there are a lot of students who finish high school but do not really attain the grades that will lead them to middle colleges or universities. Those students still have an opportunity to excel in life. And that is why we have the technical training institutes in the county governments to ensure that these kids, these students, have an opportunity to improve their employability skills and also to create jobs for themselves. So that is the current situation. I will talk to it more, but the county government has an opportunity to really ignite hope for those who have not really attained the marks that qualifies them to middle level colleges or universities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. You are touching on a critical area: creativity, problem solving, leadership development. And I know, Waziri, one of your flagship projects, and indeed your office today is called Talanta Plaza. Your flagship project for the regime this time of the season has been Talanta Hela. And yesterday you were in Nyeri for a fact to launch or to officiate the finals of the tournament. How do we bridge in the gap of out-of-school youth who are creative, like the DG is mentioning, but are looking for space in the creative space, in the sports, in the arts, without really emphasizing the need for education, but the need for employment and inclusive opportunities for the youth?
Thank you, Philip. Let me, from the outset, acknowledge the presence of the very Reverend Professor Stephen Bugwangari, the Vice Chancellor of this institution. Professor, thank you for having us. It's good to be back here. And of course, to acknowledge my co-panelists on this very important agenda, this very important subject. And to say right from the outset that I'm very delighted, absolutely delighted to be here, to join you, Philip, together with the Corporate Career Academy. And the mere fact that you've been able to put this whole city together to mobilize this very impressive constellation of young people and to bring all of us together to wrap our minds around the crucial, critical agenda of employability is really commendable, and I really want to commend you for that. And so young people, I salute you wherever you are. Please salute me. Let me see a salute from you, young people. I salute you. I want to assure you that really we are here by choice, not by accident. We came here very deliberately, very intentionally to assure you that there's no greater agenda, or there's no task more important to government. And when I say government, it's both national government and county government. There's no task more critical to the country today than dealing with the challenge of livelihoods and livelihoods for our young people. Sustainable livelihoods for our young people. I have deliberately not used the word employment because sustainable livelihoods is something we must look at from all points of the compass. We must look at through 7D prism because it's about skilling, the right level of skilling. It is about maximizing on opportunities, and those opportunities are not necessarily in a white collar office. There are opportunities in multiple spaces. The task is about you being part of the solution and not sitting in your corner waiting for someone to deliver the solution to you. And therefore, I consider this to be a fantastic opportunity for us to have a very candid, a very open 7D conversation. A conversation from multiple angles and multiple prisms. Government is very clear. This particular administration, the administration led by His Excellency William Ruto, is very clear that the priority is our youth. And for several reasons. Number one, you are the most significant demographic cohort of our population. Our young people today, or the youth of this country, constitute over 70% of our population. You're the most energetic demographic cohort. You're the most imaginative. You're the most creative. You can be deployed as a force for good. We have what we call a youth bulge, not just in Kenya, but across the whole of the African continent. Africa is the youngest continent in the world by far, with a median age of 19. That's the median age on the African continent. We can look at this youth bulge as a boon, or a benefit, or as a ban, or a challenge. I choose to look at this youth bulge as a boon, as a benefit, as an advantage, as a resource. But for it to be a resource, we must be deliberate, we must be intentional on how we prepare these resources and how we deploy these resources. If we don't do that, of course, this youth bulge could also end up being a ban, a challenge, a problem, a time bomb. Look around this African continent. In every troubled corner of this continent, any corner, look at any part of this country, of this continent, any place where you have experienced upheaval, you have experienced trouble, young people have been at the center of that trouble. It is young people who bear arms in areas that are troubled by insecurity. It is young people who are lured into radicalization and deployment as agents to destabilize societies. And that happens in any society, in any country that does not invest in transforming these resources, this youth bulge, into a boon or a benefit for society. And that is why under this administration, we are very deliberate in deploying this youth bulge in the right manner. The first step, as I've already mentioned, is skilling. We have to provide skills of the right nature, skills that are relevant to the job market, relevant to banks, like we have been told here, relevant to industry, but also relevant for you to become an ignition for employment and for job creation yourself. Number two, we have to make sure that we open doors of opportunities in every single imaginable space And that brings me to what Philip has mentioned. The programs we are deliberately putting together to expand the space of opportunities. The Talanta Hela initiative is now a flagship program, not just of my ministry, the Ministry of Youth Affairs, the Creative Economy and Sports, but indeed the whole government. It is among the few initiatives that the president has taken time to launch himself. In fact, it's the only initiative of government launched by the president at State House. And for the president to have taken that unusual step to launch this program himself and to launch it at State House tells you what it means to him as president of this republic. What is Talanta Hela? Talanta Hela is our collective effort and intention to turn the creativity, the innovation, the energy of our young people into sustainable livelihoods. We do this by providing a framework to identify your talent, to nurture your talent, and monetize that talent in a very deliberate way. And we are looking at the whole ecosystem of talents. Talents in sports, the entire spectrum of sporting disciplines, from football to rugby to hockey to volleyball to swimming, all of them. Talents in the creatives, music, film, fashion, pageantry, fine art, theater, the entire spectrum of the creatives, including the new explosion of content creation. That whole space is our business under Talanta Hela. Talanta Hela is also targeting innovation. That whole space you see, AI, artificial intelligence, imagining a world where innovation and creativity is the driver of economic development. That is the spectrum of Talanta Hela. Because sometimes I meet young people and they think Talanta Hela is about football. Football is only a minuscule portion of Talanta Hela. It's very broad, and we are deploying several mechanisms, several measures to implement this program. In the field of innovation, for instance, in the month of August, in the town of Eldred, I launched the Presidential Innovation Challenge and Award. What is this challenge? It is a challenge to our young people to imagine solutions to the challenges confronting our country today and innovate solutions around those challenges. And we are telling our young people, you can innovate in any field. Fisheries, agriculture, fintech, climate change adaptation, anything you can imagine, we are asking you to innovate. We have been running this challenge online. You can go onto the website of the Kenya National Innovation Agency, which is one of the agencies under my ministry, plug in and virtually share with us your solution to any particular challenge you want to be a solution to. At the end of this month, actually next week, we will be hosting the Kenya Innovation Week. This one is even more special because we have made it the Commonwealth edition. We are expecting 56 members of the Commonwealth to join us for this Innovation Week. During that week, we will unveil the best innovations from that challenge. And for every innovation we select, we are giving you 5 million shillings as a startup fund. What is a startup fund? A startup fund is an ignition funding for you to turn your innovation into an entrepreneurship, so that we move from an idea to business. And before you progress your idea to business, the Kenya National Innovation Agency is offering you free opportunity to incubate your idea. We can help you to sharpen it, to improve it, to make it better, and then give you the 5 million to ignite it as a business, and then help you to open market access. We'll provide you market intelligence. We'll provide you the opportunities to open market opportunities for yourself. I am very excited about this particular one because it is limitless. come and tell us how to make agriculture cool. Because, as I told you, you are the most numerous humans amongst us. There's so many youth. But do you know the median age of a farmer in Africa is 69 years? A continent with a median age of 19 has a median age of the farmer at 69. So the people who are most energetic, who are most imaginative, and who eat more than anyone else are not producing food. So how can we have food security? How are we going to have food security if the most voracious feeders are not producing food, they're just eating? So I want young people to tell me, how do we make agriculture cool so that we can get this youth bulge into a solution to the question of food security? Climate change adaptation. The greatest challenge in the world today is climate change. How do we get you into a mass of solutions to climate change? My ministry has deployed another project which we are calling the 1 Million Youth Green Army for Climate Adaptation. It is a project we are deploying jointly with the University of Nairobi, my alma mater, the Groningen University in the Netherlands, and the Global Center on Adaptation. It is a program which will provide you with skills because we have a training program, and you can receive training at the University of Nairobi, you can receive training at the University of Groningen in the Netherlands, and you will receive a certificate. You can build a career in climate change or environmental studies, but you will also be part of our program to offer better solutions on climate adaptation. What I'm telling you is that there are countless opportunities out here. Take advantage of those opportunities, whether it is in the Talanta Hela space, or in the innovation space, or in the climate adaptation space. There are opportunities, and this ministry is here to hold your hand. I'll give you an example of a young man that has immensely impressed me. Zach is a young man, 24-year-old, from Kiambu. During the last International Youth Day, I bumped into Zach as we did our youth activities. And Zach told me, Waziri, I have observed a gap in our sports. And I was like, okay, what have you observed? He tells me, I'm a football fan. I'm a Manchester United fan, for that matter, sadly. And, and so Zach tells me, I watch the English Premier League, but I also watch the local Kenyan Premier League. And anytime I watch the Kenyan Premier League, any moment a team wishes to substitute a player, I see people lifting up, sometimes manila paper, sometimes cardboards for substitution. So I have sat down and imagined a tech solution. I think I can produce an electronic substitution board. And I told him, okay, go ahead. Show me what your mama gave you. Zach did exactly that. He produced a prototype. He brought the prototype. We looked at it. We thought it could be improved. We sent him back. He said, I need some little financing, which we provided. He came back with something, which today, those of you who are watching the Talanta Hela football, the Talanta Hela football was not using cardboards or manila paper. We were using electronic substitution boards produced by a 24-year-old from Kiambu. The point I'm making is, by observing problems, challenges around you, you can imagine solutions, and we will hold your hand to turn your solutions into your employability, pretty much. Zach has already employed 3 young people. His enterprise is growing, and we have open market access for him. Gor Mahia has just placed an order with him. The Football Federation has just placed an order with him, and Zach is now very busy Looking at Zach today, and I talk to him very often, I don't think Zach is going to be looking for any job. Zach has turned his employability into opportunities for himself and for other young people. That is what we are challenging young people to do. That does not mean that we should not look for white-collar jobs. Look for white-collar job by all means, if you want one, if you can get one. But let that not limit you. There are opportunities beyond the white-collar jobs. Thank you very much.
Waziri, the acknowledgement from the audience resonates with the natural conversation that we're having. And I'm glad that you've accepted to interact with us from that very seat. I will have a recap of what we're talking about, but while you are addressing us, Waziri, two gentlemen that are very easy to see joined us in the room. They have another thing in common. They're psychologists. They have another thing in common. They are of Austrian descent. So we are joined by the ambassador of the Austrian embassy to Kenya, His Excellency Christian Fellner. We are joined by Professor Bernard Martinique, who is also going to address us at some point. We appreciate you for coming, and we appreciate the government of Austria for being part of this. Creativity, the boom, the benefits, the resources. Innovation is not tech, and tech is not innovation. All the fields are open to us, and Waziri has demonstrated that beyond any other thing that I would want to add on. Waziri, you mentioned some critical parts of training, of accepting the capacity of any other one person, so long as that we can imagine beyond the borders. I do not want to limit the conversation between myself and yourselves. 13, 15 years ago, I was a great admirer of you as a minister, as an assistant minister in the youth docket. And I think things that I would have wanted to ask you, somebody in this audience is going to ask you today. And so I want to open this conversation to the audience. Allow us to pick at least 2 or 3 questions so that you hear also from the Ugandans in the room, the Rwandans in the room, the Kenyans, and the rest of the Eastern Africa community. And so I give this opportunity to our guys that are already prepared with questions, those who want to ask Waziri questions, those who want to ask the Deputy Governor questions. And I will only take 3, then another 3. Then in the interest of time, I will allow Waziri to proceed and make his remarks and open this session, and as well have the privileges of giving us his remarks. The microphone, please. Let's start with, I believe these are students, priority to students. Please introduce yourself, your institution, and ask one brief question.
Hello, my name is Magoba Emmanuel, and I think today I'm the happiest man in the auditorium because Waziri happens to come from the same area of natural domicile with me. So, Honorable Ababu Namwamba, my question is, kindly will you please just tell us something on personal branding? Because you've been someone that most of us young people have always admired ever since you are my member of parliament back in 2013. And today, 2022, just some few years, you're already a CS. Maybe in the next 10 years, you'll be a deputy president or even a president. So please, just try to elaborate to some of us young people who always watch you, follow your footsteps, and observe your equivocality and quintessentiality in this nation. Just tell us, I mean, who is this Namwamba? Thank you.
Thank you. Personal branding. Please spread the other side. The gentleman in white, yes.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Kedan Njage from Chuka University, the farthest stage of Mount Kenya. I have one question for the DG and the Waziri. So we are talented differently. In as much as we are talking about sports and other mechanical or practical talents, we have people like, for example, me, who like public speaking and addresses and mentorship. So what programs is the government having to make sure that you nurture such talents which are not practiced in a technical field? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. I am assuming Waziri answered your question in speaking, but he'll choose whether to add more. There is a hand here. Please, that's the third one.
Good morning. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I have just a few questions, but I'll rush through. They'll answer later. To the Professor George, you mentioned...
Tell us your name.
Oh, sorry. My name is Montet Cholet. I am a youth. I own a company that teaches data analytics. And I was employed as well, so I'm very privileged and happy to be here. So I want to just ask a few questions. For Professor, you mentioned that you see some gaps in the skilling section. It would be interesting to know what is happening in that curriculum sector of the university to be able to help with that. And then to the HR lady, fantastic, you're hiring 100 young people at DIB. I'd be very curious, there's a new term called underemployment. I'd be very curious how much you're paying them, even for internship. And when it comes to His Excellency Martin, I'd want to know, how are you reaching the people of Mashinani, especially now that you're talking about young people and tech? Is there internet? Is there computers? And finally, sir, like you mentioned, you're really supporting young people. I'd be curious to know, as an entrepreneur who's very young as well, I'd want to know, how can I be supported to be able to take my company to the next level and to be able to employ even the people sitting in this room? Because so far, to be honest, I don't know how the government is supporting young entrepreneurs financially. I'd love to hear more from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. I'll open it up to two more questions. The farthest left. My farthest left.
Guys, my name is Martin Karaoke Maloba, a student here from Catholic University, and I'm really glad to be here. I'm also the founder of Hakuna Mipaka, which basically, the vision behind it is, I'm looking at, in the spirit of East Africa, once I graduate, as opposed to just thinking about my country, Kenya, now there are 6 other more countries where I can think of applying my trade, getting employment, you know, and contributing towards East Africa. Now, I run a weekly spaces where we discuss this relevant documentation that we need for free movement of people, and also we cover, to actualize the vision of Hakuna Mipaka, there are companies which we highlight across East Africa. We look at their CEOs, their product service offering, so to give East Africans a general view of the companies in operation. And just once you graduate, then you have a clear understanding of where you can apply your skills. And we also talk about the relevant documentation when it comes to free movement of people. So my question was, there's this particular policy clause that we saw when it came to free movement of people, and it says, basically in my own words, if I'm going to hire someone from across East Africa, I must first certify that they're not really, that in my own country, no one else can do that particular job. So if I'm into content creation and I like someone from Uganda or Tanzania who's very good at editing, I must first certify that no one else in my country can do that particular job. So we were asking, how practical is that? How can you enforce such a rule or such a policy? Because I think it's anti-free movement of people, anti-East African hood. And
Thank you. Let's have the next person. Yours is well taken. Let's have a lady, the one on the farthest left.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Priska Ijusa, a student of political science in Catholic University. My question goes to the Deputy Governor, Kajiado County. I'm interested in environment and the surrounding. Based on the presentation by the CS about food security, you asked how we can do better to promote food security. So my question goes to the county governor, since I'm going to talk about Rongai as part of Kajiado County. Yesterday, my visit to Quarry Market, I happened to walk through the market to buy some stuff there, and I was not impressed by the state and the nature of the market. So the same market that is, the women are selling food in the market, what can you do to improve the state of the market? Because even if you go there right now, it's hectic, it's a dirty place, and the foods that are being sold there are for consumption. So what basically will you do as a county to ensure that the market is in a good state? Then my last question.
Thank you very much. That's taken. I allowed one question each. I will wrap it up there. If we have more time, we'll come back to you for another set. I will begin with Lillian. Underemployment. How much are we paying for internships?
I was hoping that question would come up, but I think... So, internship. Like I said, we have 3 programs that target the youth. And while we are doing that, I think Bwana Waziri had talked about being part of the solution, not just complaining. As a corporate, as a bank, we decided to be part of the solution, as opposed to talking about having graduates who are half-baked. Most of the time we talk of graduates who are half-baked. We've opened our doors for the intake of job shadowing. So job shadowing, you come to the bank, you get a feel of the bank for 2 weeks. In these 2 weeks, you get to have an experience of what takes place in the bank. So for those 2 weeks, we'll pay you just a stipend to take care of your transport and all that. So 2 weeks for 5,000. But at the end of the day, that job shadowing, what it will do to you, the experience that it will give you, I think is something that 5,000 for 2 weeks, you cannot even compare. That takes me to the second item of the internship. Internship, we pay 20,000. An internship runs for 3 months. In those 3 months, you get to have a feel, and you also get to work. Job shadowing, you're not working. Job shadowing, just getting a feel, seeing what is taking place. Internship, you get to dive into the scope of the work. 3 months, and we pay 20,000 each month. Again, I would say the 20,000 is neither here nor there. What is important is that you're branding yourself, you are getting ready for the job market. And then we might be able even to absorb you in the bank. We've done that before, and we continue doing the same. Because you're the pool, we create a pool of talent. Those people who worked with us, those people who job shadowed with us, we normally give them the priority. So take advantage. The last one is the graduate management training. These are fresh graduates who come from the universities. We partner with various universities in the country. These are not 100. We take between 15 to 20 people, 20 graduates every year. Like now as you're speaking, we are in the phase of taking the next 20. So these ones, they go through a whole 3-year program. By the time they're settling, they're done with the 3 years, they become leaders. So these are not, we are not going to take them to the mainstream employment. They become leaders automatically. So that's a pipeline of leadership. I hope I've answered you. Then those one I might not talk about them because that is more of now employment completely. But it's above the market rate because again, we want to be known as employer of choice in this country. Maybe mine is to challenge employers who could be amongst us here. High time to find solutions to this country as opposed to complaining. If you're here, maybe you can just connect with me on how to come up with those kind of programs. Let's talk of maybe job shadowing. Just open your doors so that people can have, the fresh graduates can have a feel of what the world of work looks like as opposed to complaining of, the classroom or the theoretical world is not giving them all they want. They'll never get to know if you're not supporting them. Let's partner with the universities. And the students who are here today, maybe Bonaidi, if you allow me, I will give you the good news. The 100 that we are supposed to be taking in the month of January, I will go with the 100 today. Over to you, Bonaidi.
Lillian, I will prepare a speech to thank you for that opportunity. And that's the essence of this conversation, creating opportunities. And you heard that right from the HR director, 100 internship opportunities and job shadowing opportunities from DTB Bank, one of the greatest in Kenya. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. You're lucky to be here. Then, there's the mention of taking my company to the next level. And VC here yesterday demonstrated to us how the Catholic University, for example, is running the innovation hub within the university space. How does this help the student that is asking about taking their company to the next level before we go to the funding bit? The VC mentioned that opportunities attract funding. So we know for a fact that it's not about the money, it's about the ideas. Dean, please help us unpack this.
Thank you very much. And in my introductory remarks, I did mention that there is a gap that has already been identified between the trainer and the prospective, the potential absorbent of the graduates or products. One of the things now to bridge that particular gap is with the universities and us included are now currently shifting from knowledge-based curriculum where our graduates are equipped with knowledge but they are not trained on how they can apply their knowledge. And our curriculum is basically focusing on skills training. And there is a discussion now to completely do a complete change of our curriculum so that the focus is on skills training and reskilling. And there is a discussion that is going on now among the deans across the country that even those students who we have released into the job market and are still tamarking looking for jobs, and I'm happy the Cabinet Secretary did mention that if you think you can get white-collar jobs, pursue. If you think it is difficult, you need to have skills so that you can become the first person to initiate your own employment. Now, so that reskilling will ensure that our students are given an opportunity to come back and be retrained in the current market needs. The other thing that our curriculum is focusing on inclusion is technological integration, so that every student, whether you are taking every trainee, whether you are taking whichever course that is not ICT, we ensure that in every curriculum, in every discipline, in every program, there is ICT integration. And then what we are also doing is to introduce flexibility in the learning models, so that even those students who are still out there and they are looking for jobs, they have identified the gaps that they were, in terms of their training. And that is making them not to get employability. We still connect with them and ensure that we do a flexible model of learning through connecting with them wherever they are in ICT so that they are able to learn wherever they are. And then
thank you, Dean. I will come back to you. In the interest of time, I'd like to come back to the DG, but just to mention, Waziri, if you may see the VC leave the hall, it's because he has to catch a flight to Addis. He has a board meeting. He was here with us a full day yesterday. He had to wait for your presence in the institution today, and the very Reverend Professor Stephen Gary, we are most grateful, deeply, deeply grateful for this opportunity, and I hope that the CS and the rest of us will understand when you excuse yourself. Thank you. Having said that, Your Excellency, you have quite a number of questions. I don't know whether you want to start with the one on food security, environmental conservation, and the green economy. Looking at the question asked by, I think, Christian, Waziri mentioned something on the green space, on agri-foods, food security. Tie this with our market systems and how the county government may respond to that tragedy that my colleague and our friend is raising. You may also use the opportunity to answer any of the questions that caught your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me try to answer the three questions very fast. I'll start by the question by the gentleman who asked whether public speaking is something that can be accepted and supported by a county government. My response is, every county government has a department in charge of youth, and your idea is very key in trying to bring creativity in the department and also change in that county. I advise that you share your vision and your dream and your idea with that department. You will probably, because you know yourself that you are a public speaker, you are interested in public speaking, you need to grow in public speaking, try get other like-minded young people to become sort of a group and association that can approach the county government, ask for support and funding. I know they will be willing to support, just like how they support a group that came and said we have talent in basketball, we have a talent in handball and any other co-curricular activities. They will support you. So I suggest and I ask that you approach your county government. To the lady in front, I don't know whether it was Muntet. Thank you. She asked whether the county governments are really available for the young people and whether these ICT skills and opportunities are accessible to the young people. And as I mentioned, that county governments has a responsibility on the technical aspects of our young people. And every county has got technical institutions. Like for the case of Kajiado, we have over 6 technical institutions. And these are learning centers that we take our young people to partake technical skills that will help them become employable or even create jobs for themselves. We have so far sponsored as a county government over 3,000 young people to train on these technical skills, and most of them are now employed, and others has created jobs for themselves and others. So yes, every sub-county has a technical institution that will support our young people be able to partake of these technical skills. Lastly, to my constituent, because I believe she is part of Kajiado, she stays in Rongai. Let me try and answer the aspect of the market. When you go to Rongai, you would really confuse whether you are in Rongai or in Ngai Muronya ward. Because one side of the road, the left side, is Rongai, and the other side of the road is Ngai Muronya. Rongai part has got a well-structured market, a very decent one, but most people prefer the other side of Ngai Muronya, where it's just next to the road, that yet does not have a very structured and well-spaced market. But the county government is in the process of finding space to relocate those people and move them to a market we are constructing for them. But in the meantime, the county government has launched a unit that is in charge of the environment. We call it Mazingira Unit, just to ensure that our environment, our towns are clean. And if it is such, then probably it is the negligence and laxity of the officers put in charge to ensure that our environment is ever clean. Because one of the prongs of our agenda, we have a four-pronged agenda as a county government of Kajiado, and one of them is livable towns. This is to ensure that in our towns we have good amenities that ensures that we have towns that are habitable. So I will try to revisit that, see how that is, but we have every intention to make sure that our towns are livable. To the aspect of agriculture and involvement of young people in agriculture. The CS mentioned that we as a country synonymous agriculture to retirees. Any person who is involved in farming is someone who has retired and is in the farm, But let me tell you, young people needs to invest and take their space in agriculture. We need to get ourselves in farming. A county like Kajiado is the second producing county county in tomato. We have virgin land. There is huge potential and there is a lot of potential in agriculture. So the county government will provide funds. If it is a startup, we have made and ensure that we have legislation in place to support youth groups.
I was going to request you to hold on that thought.
Yes.
Because we're at a point where we need to release Waziri. We are afraid that he has to catch another engagement. So I want to give this opportunity to you, Waziri, and we are most honored to do so, to speak to us briefly on what you have prepared for us, having had a feel of what the audience expects, and also sounding back to you. In responding to that, please take the stage. We will also be happy at the end of this session, like we promised, to hand over to you a policy brief on the East African employability ecosystem in guiding the rest of the decisions that you're making and adding our voices to your work as you continue to serve us. Once again, karibu, and take the platform, Waziri. Thank you.
I come there? Oh, yes.
I'll actually decline to read any speech and conclude my presence here by responding to a couple of issues that our young people have raised. The lady here, you wondered how your enterprise, your business can be supported. That's a very valid question. And you deserve to be supported. You deserve your business to be given, to be given backing. And we would love to, at a personal level, would love to plug you into some of the opportunities that the ministry has. Opportunities like the Youth Enterprise Fund, which are available to you, and other packages which the ministry is working on in partnership with corporates. We have a program which we have put together with the Kenya Commercial Bank, for instance, on investment intelligence and business financing. We would love to plug you into that, together with any other business-oriented or business-minded young person here who would wish to take advantage of such opportunities. The young man from Chuka University raised the issue about being talented. You called it differently, but really for us, especially under the Talanta Hela initiative, there is nothing like being talented differently. Talent is talent, and we are available to help grow that talent. Even persons with disability, we are working with them because the mantra of this ministry, the mantra of this government is leaving no one behind. We don't want to leave anyone behind, and so if you believe you have a talent in public speaking, you have a talent in broadcasting, for instance. The other day I was in Eldoret and I ran into a young boy called Lagat, and he has this amazing broadcasting skill. We've been able to plug him into our ecosystem so that that talent can be grown. So as I walk out, I would love to talk to you, gentlemen, and see how we can progress what you believe to be your talent. We are certainly leaving no one behind. And then quickly to the question raised, I believe, by Karaoke. Karaoke, you spoke the language of a project which the ministry is running, and that is around the whole agenda of a borderless Africa. And you know that President William Ruto has already made a pronouncement of the desire to send Kenya open to the whole of Africa. You know, many years ago in 1886, a bunch of characters sat in a conference room in Berlin and decided to partition Africa among themselves. Na walikuwa wanagawana hii, ile kona ni yangu, ile kona ni yako, alafu akachora mipaka. Na walikuwa wanachora mipaka kwa ramani ya sehemu ambayo walikuwa hawajawahi kanyaga personally. Wakagawana, wakapanda mipaka, wakagawagawa. Now guess what? Today, the same characters who split Africa into small units have gone borderless. With one visa called the Schengen visa, you can visit 27 European countries under the EU. Sisi ambao tulikubali kugawanya-gawanywa, bado tunaulizana visa. Wale walitugawanya-gawanya, wameadopt visa moja. Can you see how silly that is? Isn't that absolutely silly? And that is why our administration, this government, has decided that we are going to make Kenya open to the rest of Africa. And we are challenging the rest of Africa to go the same route. Rwanda has done it. Many African countries are coming on board. The future of Africa is to allow free movement of people, of ideas, of goods, of services from the Cape to Cairo, from Lamu to Cape Verde, across the whole continent of Africa. That is the future. And Karaoke, I want to invite you. In fact, I'm going to give you a speaking slot at the Youth Connect Africa Summit that is opening here in Nairobi from the 8th to the 12th of December. And the theme of that summit, which is bringing 20,000 African youth to Nairobi for 5 days, the theme is Youth Innovating a Borderless African Renaissance. We are bringing together African youth from across the length and breadth of Africa to imagine an Africa that is borderless. So that silly question that people keep on telling you, that you can only bring in skills which are not available here, can be no more. And that the youth of Africa can move across this continent in pursuit of opportunity, in promotion of their ideas and their creativity and their innovation without any restrictions. Come to that summit. In fact, Philip, allow me to invite all the young people participating in this summit to be my guests at the Youth Connect Africa Summit. So Karaoke, come, let us imagine a borderless Africa, where you can do your business across the whole of East Africa, across the whole of Africa. That is the agenda of President William Ruto. That's the agenda of this administration. And that is the future of Africa. Borderless. Emmanuel has asked me to show him my ways. Emmanuel wants me to show him my ways. Emmanuel, I'll tell you, it is all about values. Values. Actually, there's nothing complex about it. It's all about values. You have to be real. You have to be true. You have to be honest. I believe in the words of, I believe it's Abraham Lincoln, who says, it is more honorable to lose than to cheat. You know, many young people today will do anything to win, including cheating your way to your goal. You will cheat even in an exam because you believe that is the shortcut. Now, the moment you start cheating in an exam, you will cheat for the rest of your life. I'm telling you today, find honor in losing. If you have to make a choice between losing and cheating, choose losing. It's about values. Number 2, you must have the valor to take the road least taken. Ralph Waldo Emerson puts it even better than me. He says, do not be afraid to go where there is no path. Don't be someone who always wants to take the safe route. I can be a daredevil sometimes. And I'm not afraid to take a route that no one has never taken, or a route that is least popular. Many people prefer the convenient route. So everybody's flowing right, you want to flow right, and then you're scared. If I flow left and the rest of the crowd is flowing right, do not be afraid to walk alone. Do not be afraid to take a road least taken. I'm just sharing you snippets. But the most important one is a very simple one. I can take it from a speech once made by Martin Luther King, and he says, if it is your commission to be a street sweeper, that is what God has decided that you will do for the rest of your life. Martin Luther King says, sweep that street so well that even the hosts of heaven, upon coming by your street, will have no choice but to stop and marvel and say, behold, there lives a street sweeper here. A street sweeper who sweeps streets so well. It reminds me of the music of Beethoven, the poetry of Shakespeare, and the painting of Michelangelo. Can you imagine a street swept that good? What Martin Luther King is saying is that whatever you are doing, whatever has been handed to you, do it to the best of your abilities. And let me tell you, with those values, you will be the president of this country, Emmanuel. No doubt. And each one of you, with those basic values, nothing will stand in your way. I wish you well as you go on with this incredible summit, and welcome to Youth Connect Africa Summit to imagine a borderless African renaissance. Asanteni sana. What am I supposed to do? You see this young man? I have met Philip for the first time today, but we know each other so much because we have been interacting virtually. And the reason why I came here on Philip's invitation is because Philip has some innate values that I have just described. So looking for a role model, Philip Pande here will be an incredible role model. Asante sana, Philip.
Another round of applause for our CS. As always, an excellent speech, excellent accessing all the questions from the students. Now, CCA would like to hand over to you, Your Excellency, the East African Youth Employability Policy Brief, which we hope you will fashion into your ministry. If we could ask the other panelists to join. And while this is happening, you have dancers from this university, the Isukuti dancers, who will also be celebrating as we go along. A round of applause, please, for this. Paul, please, can we have you on?
On stage are the Luya Community Dance from Western Kenya, ready to present to you the Luya Cultural Dance entitled Mamega, entitled Enjoy.
The last session before lunch, we have Professor Batniki, who is going to speak to us about the space of evolving skills, essential skills, evolving careers, entrepreneurship, mentorship, and career growth. But before he does that, while they're setting up his presentation, I'd like to invite Power Surge again to take us through their repertoire. Paul, I hope you have their music on cue. Thank you very much. Over to you, Power Surge.
Love the way you back it up. Love the way you back it up.
In my other life, I was a dancer in my head. Thank you very much, Power Surge. Was that okay? The speech by the CS, the DG, TDB. I'm wondering how you're sitting on your seats and somebody just offered 100 jobs. I would have been out there, I would have known Madame Gala, I'd have secured a job. I'm just saying. And of course, we had Professor Koros. So now we have the privilege of the last speech. It's about 15 minutes by Professor Dr. Bernard Batinik. He is the head of Department for Work, Organization, and Media Psychology at the Johannes Kepler University in Linz in Austria. This presentation will be about 10 minutes, after which we will go into a lunch break. Ladies and gentlemen, please acknowledge and applause to Professor. Karibu, Professor.
Thank you. How can I click further? The slides. How can I proceed? One slide after another.
You'll have to tell me.
Yeah. Okay. No, everything is okay. So hello, welcome to everyone. I'm just waiting for my slides. So. Okay, I will start and the slides will come later. At first, I would like to welcome you to my lecture, The Importance of Work for People and Their Health. It's a great honor for me to be invited here to give this lecture here, and I thank you very much for it. I would also like to thank Ambassador Dr. Fellner very much for bringing us together, for making this all happen. Thank you very much, Dr. Fellner. This is my first time in Kenya, and I'm a big fan of your beautiful country. And I would say, let's start with the first slide after that. So here you see where I come from. This is Linz. It's 1.5 hour away from Vienna. Vienna is our main city. And the next slide. And here you see Europe, probably, so Austria is connected to Germany and Croatia and so on. And one slide more. And here I have overlapped Kenya. And what you see is that Kenya is much bigger than Austria. It's probably the same like Austria, Czech Republic, Germany, Luxembourg, and some small countries together. So, and also from the inhabitants, you are a few times bigger than Austria is. We've got something around 9 million inhabitants. You've got something around 50 million. This is a picture of Linz. It's as large as Naivasha, is it right to pronounce? A city here in Kenya, 200,000 inhabitants approximately. And here you see the Danube River and 2 buildings, one red, one blue, that are 2 art museums. So a really nice city, and if you do not believe me, see what former President Donald Trump said. Linz, great city, believe me, never been there, but great, great city. It's fake news. No, it's not real. No, he didn't say it about it. This is a picture of my university. It's a new part, and one picture more. And there is the old part, and my office is in the old part. Somewhere in the middle of the building that you see there is my office there. And this is a picture of my team. So we are the Department of Work, Organizational and Media Psychology at the Johannes Kepler University of Linz. So one slide. Yeah, career. It starts with optimism and joy. And after your career, 20 years, you are probably at the top. And 20 years later, you are nearly finished. So probably it looks like, if you see some people who did such a career over the lifespan, that it make us sick. No, career make us sick probably, no, after the years. No? And if you Google the question, is your job making you sick? And you see what articles in newspapers are about this topic. And then, please, go ahead. You find 35,000 Google hits, and one more. And you see my job makes me feel like I never be good enough. Is your boss you're making you sick? Home office makes you sick. Everything nearly makes you sick. And I found one thing, Miyengo in Kenya is the most dangerous job. So I found this. So it makes you also sick, and it's dangerous. No? And here you see work is dangerous. Yeah. So the prevalence of individual health compliance, and this is a study conducted in Germany by a health insurance company. It's very interesting because of all persons who work, 1/3, so every third person said it has often or every time back pain, for example. Every third, 1, 2 back pain, 1, 2 back pain. Or that, yeah, one time back. And a lot of different other illness, like that the people cannot sleep very well and so on, are very, very often by people who work. One slide more. And if you ask them what makes you stressed at work, then there are a lot of different things what people said what makes them stressed. Noise, deadlines, too much work, constant sitting, it's too warm or too hot, it's dusty, dirty, lack of information, and so on. And if you see constant attention, concentration, 30% said, this is a problem for me every day in my work. So people informed us about a lot of different problems they have when they work with their health. And here, sickness level or sickness rate by level of education, we see people with a university, this statistic shows us how many of 100% are always sick. So, and you see that the level of education correlates with the sickness level of the person. So if you got a university degree, then you are most healthy in your job. If you got no degree or a lower degree, then your sickness level is much higher. So What we also saw in a study that is conducted in Germany, or was conducted in Germany, that mental illness, disease, and sickness in work, because the people have mental problems, raise up dramatically. So what we see here are 1 million days of people, the number of days on sick leave due to mental illness. In Germany, it was 2001, it was 33 million days that people left, and 10 years later, or 9 years later, it rise up to 53 million, or a little bit more than 53 million sickness days in Germany. And one of the most health problems are depressive disorders. And here I found a statistic where you can see the difference between parts of the world, and Africa is somewhere in the middle. So it's very comparable. I think it's not a European problem, it's a worldwide problem, what we have with mental illness and people who received mental illness at work, or have a problem with mental illness at work. Next slide. Here's a short description about a study we did about mental stress in the workplace, and we we tracked persons at work with fitness trackers. And one point what we measure was the heart rate of the person over the day. So we measured sleeping quality, how many steps per day they did, and so on, but also the heart rate. And on the next slide, we did it in 3 cities. It was Linz, Salzburg, and Vienna. And the red one is Linz. And what you see at the day when the people start to work, the heart rate went up, and when they stop working, it goes down. And one interesting thing was, in Linz, it started something around 30 minutes before work that the heart rate went up. And one reason why it went up, the heart rate, and this is an indicator for stress, that people got stressed earlier in Linz, was that they built a bridge in Linz and they had totally problems with transportation, so transportation to work, and the people who worked get a higher heart rate, more stress in the morning. But then at work it stays very clear, very constant in all 3 cities, nearly at the same level. So we got one slide more. Yeah, so first recommendation, what should we do? It is better not to go to work. Work makes you ill. Yeah, pension for everyone. Now that's one solution. So do not work. Work makes you sick, probably. Yeah, really? Yeah, no, not really, I think. For some of you who knows the literature, this, we called it in Austria kalter Kaffee, cold coffee. No, it's nothing new. No, that work makes people ill, we know it. And if you see the research about it, next slide, then typical psychology research is that we've got predictors, and that we predict with these variables some outcomes, like health. And we know this organizational predictors, like full-time or part-time employee, or so if you got a full-time or part-time job, how many working hours do you've got, how many, if there was organizational change, if you receive job insecurity, and so on, predicts a lot of different things, a lot of outcomes. One outcome, for example, is physical health. One, it's job satisfaction, intention to leave, performance, mental health, of course, well-being, happiness, life satisfaction. And what you see here are only meta-analyses. So that are not single studies. They are studies who contain sometimes hundreds or few hundred single studies in one big meta-analysis. So we know this connection very well. So we know that how your job is designed influence your health. But one point is very important, because I said before, stop working. One point is very important. The first one, that also unemployment lead to a lower health. So if the people are unemployed, they received also lower health or mental problems. So if they work, they get mental problems. If they do not work, they get also mental problems. So what to do with this? Next slide. Here, for example, you see a meta-analysis about the connection between unemployment and psychological stress. And what we see here, for example, there is a strong connection between unemployment and depression of the person. So if the people are unemployed, the depression rate is very high. And the meta-analysis show that unemployment leads us to lower mental health. Next slide. So, and a very important, one of the most important studies that ever done before, in my opinion, was a study about the unemployed of Marienthal, and it's nearly 100 years ago. And Marienthal is a small city near Vienna. And there, a few researchers, Paul Lazarsfeld and Maria Hoda, went there because in this small village, a fabric closed, and the people, the inhabitants, a lot of them, got from one day to another unemployed. And Maria Hoda, Paul Lazarsfeld, measured what happened with the people when they get unemployed and what happened with their families and so on. And why I think it's one of the most important empirical studies ever done before, there is a museum about the study. So if you're a researcher and you do a scientific research and they built 100 years after a museum about it, then you did something very well. And there is also a cinema film about this study carried out. And Maria Hoda, it's a picture of her, yeah? She said a few years later, and this is one of our key models, she said that if you lose work, also the question is what happens with you if you lose work? She said then you lose at first the manifest function, and this is money. So the main function, what everybody see, is money, and you lose it. You get much lower money if you do not have a job. But she said there are also 5 other things that you do not see directly, but that you are also losing. And these 5 other things are the latent functions, and latent functions are also very, very important. And these 5, go back please, these 5 latent functions are first, the opportunity to contribute to a higher collective purpose. The second one is status and recognition. The third one is having a social network, social contracts. The fourth is activation, to be active. And the fifth one is time structure. So on. And we built a questionnaire to measure these 5 latent functions and this one main, manifest function at work. This is the questionnaire. So one slide more, please. Okay, and this is our basic model, and we said we think that a lot of different aspects of your working conditions, or here aspects of the employment situation, are connected to health. We already know this, but we think that it goes over the latent function and then to health. That means these aspects of the employment situation influence the latent functions of work, and the latent functions of work influence health. So the latent functions of work are the mediator of the combination between how your job situation is and how your health is. And about this question, so we did some studies. Here are a few publications we did about it. On the left side, you see aspects of employment situation. In the middle, you see meaning of work, or the latent benefits and the financial benefits. And on the right side, you see the outcomes. Mental health, well-being. We also tested job satisfaction and so on. And the idea is every time that it comes from the aspects of employment situation to the latent benefits to the outcome. And that would mean, if this is right, that you have to find jobs where you find at first a very good manifest function, of course, enough money, but you have also to take a look on the latent functions. And now I've got a few slides about our results in this case. So at first we did a representative study about the difference in latent functions between employed and unemployed persons. And we found a lot of difference. So people who are employed receive much more of these latent functions, much more status, much more social contracts, much more activity, much more recognition, much more time structure than people who are unemployed. And this is a regression analysis, and we can explain with the latent function 30% of the variance in health. So if we know how much latent functions a person receives, we know 30% of the variance in mental health of this employed person. So it's a very strong connection between latent function and health. One point is that somebody said, okay, if somebody receives a lot of money, then his status is also high. And he's got a lot of social contracts at work and so on. Therefore, we realized a study with people who are debtors. In Austria, we've got a special system. If you are totally debt, you can go to the government and you can be debtor. That means you have to be over a few years. Everything what you earn goes to the people where you have to pay the money for, and after a few years you are free of debt. So for these people it's not worth to work. Why should I work, receive money, because I don't I have to give it everything I have received on money, I have to give it away for my debts, to pay my debts. So we tested, or we did a survey where we compare, one time, please go back, where we compare activity, time structure, social contracts, collective purpose, and status between people who are debtors who work and people who do not work. And we saw that there are a huge difference. People who work receive much more of these latent functions. So I do work, it's not for the money, it's for my status, it's for myself, it's for the community I do it. And this results in higher latent functions and also in a higher well-being, in a higher mental health. Next slide. This is a little bit complicated. We did another study, a 4-wave study, where we tested persons, and 6 months later we tested them again and again and again. And we tried to figure out if our latent functions can predict health in the future, and it was possible with this study. So it was possible to predict health in the future with the latent functions known what was in the past. One slide more. And also we compared job status, and job status means white collar, blue collar worker. And we know that white collar workers have higher scores in mental health than blue collar worker. And we could describe, or could explain in our study, that this went over the latent functions of work. So white collar worker had higher latent function, more access to the latent functions, and therefore a higher scores in mental health. One last study, and it's a big one. It's called PASS study with 10,000 participants. It was conducted with the Institute of Labor Research at Nuremberg, Germany. And one slide more. And nearly 9,300 respondents took part in this study, and we tested also in this study the latent functions of work. And what you see here is about the latent functions, 6, and the last one is the manifest function. And go back, please. And what you see here are different status of jobs. And what we see here, it's difficult to see because it's very small, sorry for it. What you can see here is that if you are unemployed or if you are retired, you have low levels in latent functions of work. But if you got a mini job, already your latent functions went up. Even a mini job is, with a mini job, is it possible to increase your latent functions of work? Next slide. We go over this, one more, please. So, discussion and implication. Yehuda's lamp model is still relevant in the 21st century, labor markets, and the importance of work for people is very high. Work provides financial benefits, of course. This is the manifest functions, but it fulfills also these 5 latent functions for the persons. So if you want to find a job for your career, for the future, then try to find a job where you get at first, of course, the financial benefits, but on second, where you get also a high collective purpose, where you get good social contracts, where you get status, activity, and where you get time structure. These latent functions are very important for your health, and find a job with high scores in these latent functions. Thank you very much for your attention. Please.
Yeah, just wanted to ask if you have any questions for Professor before he goes. Okay, I have a mic here, so unless you're coming down to get it, please do. Any other questions for Prof? Okay, let me go.
Yeah.
You will hold it?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Prof. My name is Milka Werimo from KCA University, and want to ask on behalf of our students, because I've seen rising issues to do with mental cases with our students, but the background being from the parent side. As you have shown, those effects about, for example, I've lost a job, but I'm a parent, but the replication is on the student's performance. To the students now, and from your advice, what are some of the best practices that we can borrow so that when we realize our parents have lost, for example, we still stay in that right track and that our performance is going to be high or as per our dreams. My next question is about Kenya currently, and you'll all witness with me. In our education sector, there's a wave, and we have to dive in it. There's a lot of changes that are coming in relation to technology, and that means our curricula has to change in terms of our delivery, in terms of how we now mentor our students to incorporate these in our dreams, as I said earlier. Now the change aspect. I know there exist so many models that we teach even in our classes, but the change is onto the staff, is onto the student, and the world is changing at a rapid change. What are the best practices to connect with these two so that the stress levels do not affect the faculty, and then our students are also in that stress environment? Thank you.
Thank you very much for this question. Thank you very much. One point is that this change, we also have it in Austria, the same. Technology is rising up. We've got a lot of discussions in my university how to deal with AI, for example, with people, students who cheat. No, I heard before, cheating is a problem. Cheating is in Austria also a problem. The people write with AI homework and give it to us, how we deal with this. No, so and it's got very complicated. We've got different ideas. So I started for one point. I started one course and I told the students, please use AI for your homework. So let's see how far this will brings you. But I said I will test you at the end. So, but try it. No, so this is one idea. The second point you mentioned how we deal with the stress that the students receive, and one point what was my experience was do not lower the goals. Do not lower the goals. Make it higher. Make it higher. Sometimes the people, it's something what comes to us as a stressor. We can change it to a high goal, to something where we do a much more effort. We bring in if the goal is higher. So there is a goal-setting theory in psychology where it said high goals motivate people. And probably bad stress can be transformed into motivation. So to reach this goal together, one example is to build teams, to tell them, try to reach the goal in teams, work together, try to work hard for it. And we've got also in Austria as a problem that our curricula in this way, that the people have to fulfill a lot of small goals. And I think much better would be to combine the small goals to a few huge goals, which are really high. And this is also to take a look on students on a higher level. No? So that's to tell them you can reach this. For example, we did about work psychology course, and I told them, let's write a book together. I said, a book? No, we are students. Impossible to write a book. Of course it's possible. Why not? Everybody get a chapter, and you work with 2 or 3 students on one chapter together. And I will coordinate it. I will teach you. I will help you. But we do it together. And at the end, probably it's not a book which will be published in, I don't know, but probably we will publish it on the internet at our homepage. No problem. Yeah. So this is a high goal, and the people get very motivated.
Good afternoon, Professor. My name is Nyol Majak. I'm a student of economics at the Catholic University. My question is, you have talked about finding a job of financial benefits. Yeah. For instance, that if I am going to find a job of financial benefits, but that job does not encourage my career development, which way do you recommend for me to go? Thank you.
From my personal perspective, I think that you have to find a job where your basic financial needs are fulfilled, of course. No? If you have a family, you have to earn enough for your children, wife, house, and so on. That's the basic. But the other point is not to think, if I get more money, I will change my job, or there I will get a little bit more, or let's go to another city, probably I will earn there more. I think very important, like I said before, are these latent benefits, for example, as status. To have a job where I'm responsible for something, where people respect that what I do, me and that what I do. No? Or where I have social contracts. That means I have colleagues and I can believe in them and they can believe also in me. No? Where I have a wonderful time structure. Time structure which also helps my family because they know when I'm coming home and when I'm going to work. So I know a lot of colleagues who are professors, and in Austria and also in Germany you get sometimes an appointment from another university. And I talked with a friend, he's a professor, and he's told me, yeah, I get another appointment in, I don't know, Hamburg, 600 kilometers away, and yeah, at this appointment I earn a little bit more money. And I said to him, is it worth this little bit money? And therefore to go to another city, to lose everything what you have established here at the university, I wouldn't go. Not only for the money. Probably if the status is higher, if the responsibility is higher, that would be a decision with my family then I would move. But not only for the financial benefits. Thank you.
My name is Emmanuel Mwenda, and I wanted to ask about finding purpose in life and designing your work around the purpose of life. Does it alleviate the stress that is work-related?
Mm-hmm. You mean how, one more, how you can design your work, or what was the question actually? Please again.
Can finding meaning in work alleviate this work-related stress? Finding meaning in life alleviate stress from work?
Yeah, the combination between life and work, so I understand your question. There are a lot of research at the moment going on about people who work from home and are connected to the home very closely at work. So, and they get one point what is discussed is work-family conflicts there. And people who've got life goals on the one hand and working goals on the other hand, and one stressor, of course, is bringing them together and acting as a family to bring working goals on the one hand and life goals together. It's hard sometimes, but still, like I said before, I think in a lot of decisions, it's you have not to think that it's your personal career. So when we talk here about career, it's sometimes personally you make the career, but still open the focus and think about family career. That it's more a career that we do as a family together, a way that we go as a family together in life, and where we develop goals together, and then you can bring working goals and life goals probably near by near together. That's one thing what I think about your question. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor. We've really appreciated your conversation with us, the data, the statistics, and more importantly, welcome to Kenya. You said it's your first time. Karibu sana. Can we give him a Kenyan round of applause? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we hope to see you again and again and again.
Yeah, it's the first time, but hopefully not the last time.
No way, no way. Karibu, Prof. Thank you. All right, I can ask. So, ladies, gentlemen, students, students who are also ladies and gentlemen, it's lunchtime. And, okay. Lunch is for the next hour. We'll reconvene at 2:15. It's now 1:15. And the speakers, our dignitaries are being asked to go into the room, the building next door, which is the cafeteria, and upstairs. And all the rest of our guests are on ground floor. And Kweyu students, apparently you know what to do. Do you? I'm thinking you know what to do. And the session in the afternoon starts at 2:15. It's an important one. It talks about mental health. This is a space that you don't want to ignore. Even if you don't have mental health issues, somebody you know could have, you're just more prepared as you leave college, whilst on college, and as you join the workspace. So we'll see you again at 2:15. Thank you. Paul, back to you. Thank you.